Hello and welcome to today's episode of Goa Current, a show where we look at three important headlines, mainly from Goa, and deep dive into them and give them perspective. It's our way of giving clarity from clutter. Here are the headlines. The Enough is Enough movement files a caveat in the Supreme Court over the Deltin Royal casino vessel entering the Mandovi waters. Petitioners apprehend that the casino firm may approach the Supreme Court challenging the High Court interim order to keep the casino out of the Mandovi waters. Ponjekars against casinos visit the captain of port's office demanding removing of the existing Deltin casino. All eyes on Tamil Nadu on Goan Governor Rajendra Arlekar. The Goan Governor of Tamil Nadu, Rajendra Arlekar, had another busy day over government formation in Tamil Nadu. Governor Arlekar, a former Goa BJP state president and minister, called TVK Supremo Vijay and asked him to convince his office about having 118 MLAs to form a stable government. The AIADMK has declined support, making the arithmetic uncertain for Vijay. The stink of the Mala dead fish leads the High Court to order a water study around Panjim casinos. The Mala dead fish incident had led the High Court to order a pollution study on the Mandovi. The Bombay High Court at Goa first took suo motu cognizance of the dead fish found floating in the Mala lake. Let's start with the Enough is Enough movement filing a caveat in the Supreme Court on the issue of this massive Deltin Royal casino coming into the Mandovi waters. The Enough is Enough movement has filed a caveat in the Supreme Court over the Deltin Royal casino, a 2,000-seater casino reportedly, apprehending that the casino might move the Supreme Court against the Goa High Court order restricting their entry into the Mandovi waters till all the permissions are taken. The controversy concerns around this massive new Deltin casino ship. It's a multi-story ship. Apparently, it's a 2,000-seater ship. It's almost like a floating city to replace an older ship under the same license. Now, this is something that the High Court has restrained this vessel from coming into the Mandovi waters because there are a lot of permissions and clearances that are still needed to be taken before the ship or the vessel is considered worthy of coming into the Mandovi waters and then starting operations later. The caveat filed by the Enough is Enough movement, spearheaded by the former Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, Justin Fardeen Rebello, has approached, and this caveat is essentially to ensure that the casino party, doesn't move the High Court, the Supreme Court, against this High Court restriction. This caveat calls the Supreme Court to hear the Enough is Enough and the movement against casinos before any order is passed or the possible appeal is heard in the Supreme Court. Now, this turns this entire issue of this entry of this vessel into a larger question. The larger question is who controls the Mandovi waters? The Mandovi has its own life. It is also a lifeline. And the larger issue of the impact of the casinos on the Mandovi waters, on the water itself, the pollution impact, the environmental disasters that happen, these are things that the people who are against casinos, the movement against casinos, want to be addressed as a larger, wider perspective, looking into the casino issue in general. So it's no longer just about the entry or the legality of the casino, but the larger impact it could have on the Mandovi, which is a very, very important angle to look at the story from. Meanwhile, the movement Ponjekar against casinos, consisting of a lot of very important social activists who've been fighting casinos for a long time, they went to the office of the captain of ports, the authority that gives its licenses and controls the casinos on the water. Uh, this particular movement, the representatives of this movement, Panjakas Against Casinos, have also demanded that the old casino, which was supposed to move out of the Mandovi to make way for the giant casino, that needs to move out immediately because the deadline for that movement was April 30th, and they've demanded that the old casino should also move out since the deadline has long passed. So, very important developments happening on the casino front on the waters of the Mandovi in Panjim. Now let's move to Tamil Nadu. Because obviously there is a Goa connection with Goan Governor Rajendra Arlekar, who's in charge of Tamil Nadu in addition to his regular charge of Kerala. Now, the TVK government, the proposed TVK government, or the expected TVK government headed by actor Vijay, who stormed into power, is getting more and more delayed as Vijay is not coming up with numbers. So today, Governor Arlekar called Vijay again and and asked him a few tough questions. And his questions were, how can you form a government with 113 MLAs when the majority is 118? How do you propose, or how do you propose to convince me, as in the governor, that you'll be able to actually demonstrate your majority on the floor of the house when the matter goes there? If I give you a chance to do it. And he has also asked uh, that he needs written support and not just verbal assurances. Now, of course, this has led to a lot of frustration among TVK supporters. It's led to a bit of criticism of the governor as well, because there have been many precedents where the single largest party, which is even short of a majority, is invited to form the government and then asked to prove its majority. But however, there have been counter precedents also, with the Supreme Court coming down heavily on governors inviting parties to form a government without a majority, and they falling short and falling short of majority and being unable to do that on the floor of the house. We know what happened with the Yadurappa government in Karnataka, where the court came down heavily on these kind of invitations. But uh, the BJP, if I may say so, has been favored by many governors and asked to form governments as well, when they are knocking on the doors of majority but not quite opening those doors. Let us come back straight to Goa and into the stink of Mala. The Mala lake and the waters suffered, and the people suffered when lots and lots of fish died in the Mala waters, led to a massive stink, not just literally but figuratively as well. And tonight, I think let's look at this very disturbing environmental story that is coming. Earlier on, the High Court had taken cognizance of this and had asked an investigation to happen, and also a study of the polluted waters of Mala. But what is very interesting now is that the Supreme Court has expanded the scope of the investigation and has even asked the Goa Pollution Control Board to conduct a fresh study in the Mandovi waters as well, specifying that these waters are contaminated and polluted because of the presence of casinos, and this needs an investigation. And they've called for a fresh report from the Goa Pollution Control Board, asking for the study to very clearly state the quality of the water, to study the extent of the pollution of the water and come up with a clear cut report for the court. So the court has expanded the scope of the petition that was moved for a thorough investigation into the pollution in the Mandovi waters, because the important part here is that the questions that need to be asked and questions that Goans need to ask is that it is not about one water body and not about another water body, because all these water bodies are absolutely connected, and the pollution and the stink literally floats. There are no geographical dividers or boundaries. And the ultimate and the larger question is that this is not just destroying the Mala Lake or the waters around the Mandovi. The larger impact on the Mandovi River or the Mahadi River, which is the lifeline of Goa, is something that needs to be looked at very, very seriously. Because if the Mandovi gets polluted in this kind of a manner, and if the casinos on the Mandovi are contributing to this pollution, then a serious check needs to be done, because like our land, our waters are getting destroyed absolutely. Because this is just not about the dead fish. It's about the discharge of sewage. It's about the pollutants dumped into the Mandovi, and the larger question that also needs to be asked is, does Goa exist only for the powerful? Does Goa exist only for the wealthy? Does Goa exist for top end industries that feed the government in so many ways? That is important. And cash cows and business establishments that are cash cows for the government, should they be treated with kid gloves and have different rules than the rules that apply to common people? And that is important. So then, when these fish are dying and the waters are getting polluted, the larger question uh, of Goa, and does governance stop only at the doors of the rich? Does it leave out and does not knock at the doors of the common people? These are the biggest questions that we need to ask, because if the Mandovi is polluted and if there are certain pollutants that are existing, then Goans will definitely ask uh, why Mother Mahadevi is getting polluted in this kind of a manner, and why the entire ecology of Goan waters is under threat because of extraneous circumstances that the government does not seem to be looking into or protecting the people of Goa. Thank you.